Hello, I'm Devin Kanaz, leader and publisher of Travelweek, a media company dedicated to getting travel agents the information they need so they can plan unforgettable vacations for their clients. Welcome to the second Future of Travel virtual event titled Caribbean Comeback. Winter is unfortunately just around the corner, so we thought it was imperative to get together with our Caribbean friends and figure out exactly what is going on the ground in regards to tourism. We have many fabulous and well-informed speakers joining us today. We're going to learn the ins and outs of the different islands and hotels, who requires a COVID test, quarantining, where Canadians are allowed to go, what's happening at the properties, and discussing the recent addition of several insurance products. At Travel Week, we aim to get you all the information you need so that when clients do feel comfortable traveling again, you're well informed. We're all aware of the difficult state of the global economy, and in particular the travel industry, which is at a near standstill, especially here in Canada. While most of us are supportive of most of the government measures, it's time to start looking beyond. And how do we kickstart the travel industry? A recent Travel Week survey shows that 83% of you believe there's significant pent-up demand. Also, 50% think that the Caribbean and Mexico are going to be the first to come back. So I'm very confident we'll be seeing the beautiful turquoise seas sometime soon. Last time I was in the Caribbean, I was at Sandals Star Awards in the Turks and Caicos. The first half of the week, I was wining and dining on the beautiful property, and the second half of the week, I was camping under the stars and kiteboarding every day. So it really shows the diversity of experience you can have in the Caribbean, and I am certainly very excited to go back. So what's happening today? We're going to hear from 8 different speakers, several different hotels and islands, and we're going to be stopping for lots of prizes along the way. You do need to be on the line to collect your prize. You can make yourself known in the chat box, and one of my Travel Week team will help you. And we're drawing the grand prize, which is a $500 Visa gift card at the very end. So make sure you stay till then. You can also use the chat box to make comments or ask questions or give shout outs to any of the speakers. We will also be sending around a guide tomorrow that we've created to complement this event, giving you all the information you need on each island. And there will be a recording, so if you miss anything, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. So let's get started. I'm going to pass it over to Catherine Folliott, Travel Week's editor.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. For our very first keynote speaker today, we have Neil Walters, who is Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, better known as the CTO. Welcome, Neil.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here. As I walked into the office today, there was a little bit of a chill in the air, which is usually great news, and that usually means that the snow is just around the corner. This year, obviously, is very different. We know that the Caribbean has challenges ahead with this pandemic, just like every destination in the world. And I'm wondering, since you're our first keynote speaker, and for the first topic we want to touch on, if you can just tell us what you're hearing from the islands and the resorts. Are things starting to look up, and how are bookings?
Well, okay, against the backdrop of the sector here reopening in June, we've seen a phased opening, and destinations have been open for locals and then moving to recent times the flights for international visitors. Yes, things are starting to look up, although it's still early days yet. But we do expect to see even more visitors in the later months of this year, correlating with winter, as you said, and early in 2021. So yeah, early days, but it's starting to look like it will get better.
Okay, can you give us a quick list. I don't want you to have to go through from A to Z, but maybe that would be helpful of just sort of the destinations that are in fact open to Canadian travelers right now.
Well, as of now, there are 26 destinations that are open, of which 22 are CTO member countries. The countries that are open, and all the countries have a wealth of information on their website. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to go into detail. I mean, 22 is a big, fairly long number for this process. It's a mixed bag, and some countries are still limited to repatriation. And that's what you would imagine with a dynamic situation like COVID, where conditions will change from time to time. Canada has always been a key market for the Caribbean, and it remains so. And at this time, the countries that are fully open to commercial passenger flights will welcome Canadian visitors.
Okay, and I know many of the biggest destinations have reopened to Canadians, and then there's a lot also that are, they've got their dates coming up. So I know that agents are obviously watching. Their clients want to know, because even though, obviously when Canada, we're dealing with the 14-day quarantine, when travelers come back, we're dealing with the advisory against non-essential travel. We do have some great insurance product out there right now, which is really, I think, offering peace of mind for people. But even though, we're not going to see the numbers, it's not going to be anywhere close to what it would normally be in a normal winter. But obviously, a lot of agents will have some clients who, once that snow starts to fly, they will be like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. And so it's always evolving. What sort of resources are you recommending? Obviously, the CTO site. Do you want to just talk a bit about that, what they can find on CTO site in terms of resources?
We do have a section of our website which speaks to what's happening with COVID-19 in various destinations, their reopening stages, and their protocols. What I can do is I can get that to you. It is on our main site, rolling marquee. Look for the spot that says COVID-19 and click on that, and it will take you straight to the link that tells you what individual destinations are open, what they're doing, and the information on traveling there. So that's our website,
okay, that's great.
www.onecaribbean.org.
That's right, onecaribbean.org. Okay, I was just there this morning, so it's always been a great site. And right now, I mean, it's obviously such a gathering place for people who are looking for that kind of information. What are the biggest? I mean, obviously, everybody has gone through incredible, overcoming incredible hurdles to even get to this stage. I mean, I think the travel industry should be proud of itself for, after 6 months of all these restrictions and the hurdles, to actually get to this point where, it is feasible for some people to be traveling to the Caribbean this winter. What are the biggest challenges ahead? We've come so far, but looking ahead for the next few months, what are the biggest challenges ahead for getting tourism back on track in the Caribbean?
Well, I'll probably save the bigger one for last, but the first thing is airlift. It stopped air travel. The pandemic stopped air travel to the region from most of our markets. And since we've reopened in June, we've seen some carriers returning. But as you can imagine, in an archipelago like the Caribbean, there is a requirement for airlift, and it is necessary to bring travelers to our shores. The airlines themselves have been severely hit by the pandemic, and they're obviously running tight schedules to ensure their own viability. The second challenge is the loss of revenue, usually stop of travel and tourism, mainly in April and May this year, and reduced revenue since then. And we've seen the impact of that by closed tourism-related businesses and the impact on Caribbean economies. Like the airlift, it's a cyclic relationship with the sector and its revenues. The sector depends on the revenues to pay salaries, to run, to get plant equipment back up, and provision restaurants and so forth. And like I said, with the airlift, we depend on the airlift. So it's like a kind of almost chicken and egg situation. And the last thing, most important thing, is the virus itself. We haven't seen the final impacts of the virus on our key markets, and definitely not on our destinations. So the challenge is planning. Planning is hampered by this lack of certainty. And it's to some extent, we don't really have a fully comparable event in our history that we can use as a reference point. So when you look at it like that, and you look at the loss of revenue, for instance, tourism businesses will actually be extra cautious in planning and the execution of their plans, I suspect, for some time to come.
Is there any concern? I mean, obviously, any company related to travel can only go so long with this kind of situation. I'm sure I know some resorts were going to open this year and they then decided to not open until next year. And that's obviously to just try to, stay alive. Are you concerned about, are there quite a few resorts that are, really in danger of closing? Are you concerned, for the months going forward? How are you handling that?
Well, I mean, it's a case where CTO, as we look at it globally across the region, we do see the attempts by various governments to put plans in place and put mitigating factors in place to help tourism businesses. It varies across the Caribbean to the ways that are being used. And then I know there have been some calls by Caribbean leaders asking the world economy and the world financial sector to assist tourism businesses. It is definitely a challenge, and it will likely continue to be a challenge for a little while. I don't know that there's any easy fix to it, and I wouldn't want to posit one at this time, especially in the light of this level of uncertainty. But definitely, I will agree, it is a challenge, and it's something we're paying very close attention to. It is not a stick my nose out and say not necessarily as bad as we might have thought, because I think some steps were taken early on to mitigate, but it is not a good situation at all. As people start coming back to our shores, obviously that will help, but there are some hurdles in terms of finances that businesses will have to get over from being closed for 6 months already this year.
Yeah, the fact that it's, as you said, 6 months, I mean, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? It's been half a year, and it's also, it is quite incredible. It's a testament to the industry that we're all, that so many of us are, it's going okay. But as you said, it is a major concern. I wanted to touch on something that happened last year. And of course, what used to be big news in other years now, in perspective, it looks, not quite so big compared to what we're dealing with now. But last year, of course, the CTO, had to close down some of its marketing offices worldwide, and that included Canada. You guys are doing an incredible job getting the word out about how the islands are recovering, what's open, what's not. But has it been tough for the CTO with that contraction of, closing the marketing offices, especially the one in Canada for the Canadian market? Is it tough to get the word out that Caribbean tourism is open, or are you managing okay?
I would say half and half. The truth is, since the restart of the sector, we have been primarily focused on ensuring that the restart has been in a responsible way, taking very close consideration of the health and the safety of the visitor and the locals alike. And that is to ensure that once more destinations come on stream, we can be able to promote the Caribbean as a destination that is healthy and safe. When we get to that point, we definitely will be having a more focused marketing program associated with the Caribbean brand. And that should happen over the coming months. But obviously not having a presence is a bit of a challenge. But fortunately, especially in this environment where everyone is working remotely, there is a kind of a feeling in the air that, we can use these social media, etc. platforms to promote the Caribbean. So while we might have missed bodies on the ground, there are several media available for us to get the word out there. And I think it is out there, and it's being shown by people coming back to our shores. And some destinations do already have flights coming out of Canada into their airports at this point in time.
Okay, great. And I know what you mean. It's sort of with social media and then just sort of word of mouth. I mean, if somebody's neighbors goes to Jamaica or the DR and they come back and they say, yeah, actually, it was a great time. I had to wear my mask, when I walked around the lobby and walking into the restaurant. But other than that, it's still a wonderful vacation. And I think it's that, word of mouth marketing. Obviously, it's tough for anybody right now in the industry to know how to market travel, in this, especially in Canada. But just getting the word out there, whether it's social media or other ways, will be really effective. I wanted to touch on cruising. Of course, cruises are just as hard hit with this as anybody else, and some would say even worse. If any islands, I know a lot of the islands are very, very connected with the cruise industry, and they rely on the activity that comes from cruising. It's incredibly important for so many of the islands. But if some of the islands are going to remain closed to cruise ships, if the cruise ships, once they get going again, would the CTO support those islands? Would it just be a matter of rejigging itineraries to visit different islands?
As I said before, our role is to ensure that our member countries continue to be responsible tourism destinations. Cruise was a critical part of tourism sector, and there still is. Even before we went into the lockdown phase in March, and since then when it's been closed. But CTO has to respect the sovereign rights of its members, and our members determine their own internal capabilities, how their internal sector will function during the pandemic. Our ultimate aim, though, is to work with tourism stakeholders to ensure a safe transition to a new normal where tourism and health can work hand in hand. And certainly we will be, that has been part of our process so far, and it will be part of the process when the cruise industry restarts. I believe that at the end of the day, countries saying no to cruise lines, we have to respect, but we also need to work and lobby to ensure that key part of tourism comes back into our destinations in a way that is beneficial to both us and the lines. The economic realities dictate that.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. It's that fine line, isn't it, between being a partner to all sides, and obviously, as you said, you can't speak for any one island. If that's their decision, that's their decision, and you have to respect that. So that's good to know going forward. Talking about all the different islands, they are all their own island. They've all got their own protocols. Some might wonder, like, gee, it's so confusing. I'd like to go to the Caribbean, but I don't know which island has which protocols. And is there any sense that it would be good to try and get some uniform protocols across all the islands? Or are you very respectful, in the same way with the cruise line question? Are you very respectful that each island is going to be doing these health and safety COVID protocols their own way?
Yeah, we are respectful of that fact. However, I will say this: all of the destinations that have reopened so far, I will say, have taken the World Health Organization's standards and requirements into consideration in creating their protocols. And we at the CTO have worked with the Caribbean Public Health Agency, the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission, and the Global Tourism Resource and Crisis Management Center to create and distribute a set of guidelines and checklists for the reopening of the tourism sector, also based on WHO standards and requirements. And the intention is that those guidelines and checklists be used by countries which are now preparing to reopen, and also by countries that have already reopened, to augment the information that they have out there. So even though there may not be one consistent document that says this is the Caribbean standard, there is a common thread going through all of these protocols that follow a standard that is designed to ensure health and safety. And when we look at it from a regional level, I do say that they have been successful at mitigating the risks associated with the reopening for travel since June.
Okay, well it's great to hear. I'm so glad we were able to talk to you as our very first keynote speaker. I really appreciate you making the time for us today. Thank you so much, and good luck with the winter ahead. And we're going to be sending as many Canadians, our readers, travel agents will be sending as many agents, as many travelers, clients as they can to Caribbean islands. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you very much, and maybe you could come as well too, and be a poster child.
I would love to. I would love to. Everybody needs a vacation after this, don't they? Thank you, Neil. And now we're actually going to turn it over to. Thank you. We're going to turn it over to our deputy editor, Cindy Saucer-Tomo. She's speaking to Virgilio Russi, who is Managing Director, Sales International for Air Canada.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Hope everyone's well. As Catherine mentioned, I'm here with Virgilio. Hi, Virgilio. Are you there?
Hi, Cindy. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you again. I know the last time we chatted, I think it was back in July, and a lot has happened since then for Air Canada. Most recently, the launch of new complimentary COVID-19 travel insurance, which was announced about 2 weeks ago. That made big news. And of course, with insurance being such a hot button issue throughout the pandemic, this was welcome news to all Canadian travelers. Can you tell us, are you anticipating an uptick in bookings now that Air Canada is offering protection?
Yes, we are. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Based on the feedback that we got from our partners, our travel agency partners, and some of our customers, we thought it was important to implement COVID insurance in Canada. It's still very early. It hasn't been there for even 2 weeks yet, so we still haven't seen the effect of it or be able to draw conclusions. It's also hard to separate that from other factors such as some provinces starting to lock down again in Canada, etc. But we're quite hopeful that it will have a positive impact.
Okay. And I understand that the insurance plan is being offered only temporarily until October 31st. Do you think Air Canada will extend the plan beyond this date, especially if Canada's non-essential travel advisory is still in place at that time?
If we get the results that we are expecting in terms of increased demand, for sure, that's the idea.
Okay, that's great. Insurance, as you know, is a must, especially during this time. With the situation being so fluid right now, can you confirm which Caribbean destinations Air Canada is flying to today from Canada? And with case numbers going back up right now as part of the second wave, have future flights been put on hold?
So not necessarily future flights or the destinations that we had, we're still maintaining that. The frequencies are still to be determined. Maybe we'll reduce some frequencies or gauge in some destinations. But what we have in the plan for October to March are 34 destinations in the Caribbean. So Antigua, Aruba, Bahamas, Barbados, Bermuda, Cayman Islands, Cartagena in Colombia, Costa Rica, 2 places in Costa Rica, 4 locations in Cuba, Curacao, 2 locations in the DR, Grenada, Guadeloupe, Jamaica, Martinique, 7 destinations in Mexico, Panama, St. Kitts and Lucia, St. Martin, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago, and Turks and Caicos. So
that's
we are
amazing.
Yes, and I can say that the bookings have been pretty good. I mean, what we're seeing in terms of demand overall, it's about half of what we had last year for bookings far out, which relatively speaking is quite good today in these days.
Can you tell us which routes in particular are proving to be popular heading into the winter season?
Yeah, we're seeing right now. We're seeing quite good demand for Mexico, for Jamaica, for Bermuda, Bahamas, Barbados.
That's great. And so can you say that winter 2020, 2021 is looking good for Air Canada? Are you optimistic?
Well, relatively speaking to other areas of the world, it's looking good. As I said, it's still far behind last year. But if we look at bookings far out, it's looking good. I think people are still hoping that they will be able to go on their vacation, on their winter vacation. Maybe some people are assuming that there won't be a quarantine in Canada when they come back, so that some of the restrictions that are there will be lifted. And so we'll see when it gets closer into to the actual date of travel if those bookings will hold. But for now, it's looking pretty good. I think the other thing that we're going to see is the trend of some people going for longer term vacations as well. Obviously today, if you need to quarantine for a couple of weeks at destination, and you need to quarantine back in Canada for a couple of weeks as well, the typical 1 week vacation is prohibitive. But what we're seeing is several of the destinations that are offering now a long-term stay type of visa, that you have a work from home kind of arrangement there. And since many of the offices in the urban areas in Canada will be probably closed until the end of winter, I think there will be some interest for people to go to the Caribbean and just work from there and study from there for a few months. So there's always been a very strong demand from snowbirds, and I think maybe this year snowbirds will be more than just the retired people that normally travel, the retired couples. We'll see maybe some people that are in the younger demographic also looking for a winter destination to go to.
You know, you mentioned the quarantine, which is big news right now. You know, it's expected to be extended again to the end of October. Can you sort of let us know how the quarantine has impacted bookings to the Caribbean, you know, a region that's typically been so easy for Canadians to travel to?
Yeah, it has had a big impact. As I said, I mean, it's quite impossible to have a 1 week vacation or 10-day vacation when you have to quarantine on the way back, and potentially quarantine also in the destination. So we are advocates of potentially replacing the quarantine with testing. So we're looking into a study on that to see if there are any findings that could support that idea. Many countries in the world have proposed that. IATA has proposed replacing the quarantine with testing, with standard testing around the world to sort of unlock travel, both business travel and leisure, and the Caribbean is no different.
You know, Air Canada has taken a leading role in innovation and safety and testing. Earlier this month, you unveiled your new testing facility at Pearson Airport. Do you think Air Canada has the capability to be offering all flyers a COVID test at this point?
So the testing that we're having right now at Toronto Airport is actually a study. We are a sponsor of that study. That's a study from McMaster Health Labs, and they're conducting a study. People get tested when they arrive from international flights, either US or any other international destination. They're invited. It's a volunteer test. They're invited to take the test upon arrival, and 7 days later and 14 days later. They still have to quarantine like everybody else. And the idea there is for McMaster to understand what is actually the risk of travelers coming into Canada with COVID, and what is the risk once they tested negative upon arrival, what is the risk 7 days later or 14 days later. We still don't have any results for that, but we're hopeful that it will be a helpful study for the government in Canada. It's the first large-scale study like that being conducted around the world. So it's another one of our firsts. And McMaster for sure is looking into developing the capability to scale their testing, either for arrival or departures, and rapid testing for Canada. So we hope to have that capability available for Air Canada and for others in Canada soon.
I know we're all hoping for the same thing. I think everyone is hoping the quarantine will be eliminated soon. So hopefully the testing works out. I want to go back to what Catherine mentioned in her interview about the varying protocols across the Caribbean. You know, we've all heard that every island has different rules and entry requirements. So can you tell us, is this a problem for Air Canada? How are you guys managing, you know, meeting these different requirements across the region?
So we have an internal department that essentially full-time, that's what they do today, to understand what the requirements are to entry any given country now. And I can tell you one interesting point. There's been, since COVID started, there's been about 70,000 new pieces of regulation around the world and to how to enter several countries. So the Caribbean is no no exception to that rule, and there is a variety of rules for the Caribbean that change quite a bit. For us, it's been, as an airline, we're used to that. We adapted those rules very quickly. In terms of being able to educate our travelers about those rules, it's a little bit more of a challenge, and I would say I think today highlights the importance of really having a travel agent help you navigate through that. Traveling has become a bit of a complicated thing, and I think having a travel agent help you with ever-changing regulations is quite important right now.
Absolutely. You know, we have so many travel agents tuning in right now. You know, final question, what do you want to say to them, and what's your advice for them as they navigate through this crisis and heading into the important winter season?
Don't lose hope. It can only get better, really, from where we are right now. I think there is there's interest from people that we see in the searches. People are looking. They're hopeful that they will be able to get out for winter vacation. And the Caribbean is quite well positioned for that. It's been they have a good track record in terms of how they manage the virus, and of course it's all about wide open spaces. So I think there's good potential for the Caribbean, and I think a lot of people, as I said before, a lot of people I think will take longer vacations this time, and they'll go and spend at least a month away, taking advantage of the fact that they can work from home and study from home. So I think there's quite good potential there.
Do you have any plans to go to the Caribbean soon, Virgilio?
Oh yes, I actually have a home in the Bahamas, and I spent a lot of time during lockdown there, and absolutely I'm gonna be there if I can.
That's awesome. Fingers crossed we have a good winter for Air Canada and for everyone. So thank you so much for speaking with us, Virgilio. I know that everyone always appreciates hearing from Air Canada. Have a great rest of the day. And thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Pleasure being here.
Of course. So we're going to head back to Devin, who has a few prizes to hand out. Devin?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. We are now going to have our first round of exciting prizes. Just let me remind you that if you are a prize winner, make yourself known in the chat box, and then one of my Travelweek team will make sure we get to your prize to you right away. So our first winner of the day, who's winning a 40-inch TV, is Barbara Dooley from the travel agent next door. Yay, Barbara. Our second winner today is a $100 Amazon gift card. That is going to go to Derek Paquette of Marlin Travel. We also have a JBL portable speaker. This is actually my favorite speaker, so I really wanted one of you to have one as well. And this is going to go to Alyssa Johnson of Onward and Outward Travel. Again, guys, make yourself known in the chat box, and we'll get you your prize as soon as possible. And make sure you stay till the end, because that's when we're doing the $500 grand prize. Now we have a very exciting guest for you. I would like to welcome the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism for Jamaica. Hello, thank you for being with us, Minister.
Thank you very much, Devin, and let's hope you are all getting ready to come to Jamaica.
I actually can't wait. It's starting to get cold here in Toronto, so that is where I would love to be. Okay, let's get started. Yeah. Jamaica was one of the leaders in reopening to tourism, and they also put together quite a comprehensive guide of protocols for the hotels, the attractions, the airports. But we also know that it's been a little bit of a moving target, and these protocols have changed. Can you tell us where we are right now in regards to Canadians being allowed into Jamaica, and what do they have to do?
Well, as a destination, we have taken many comprehensive steps to ensure the health and safety of our citizens, international travelers, as well as our tourism workers and their families. In preparation for reopening, we work closely with the national and international organizations to identify best practices and develop an intensive array of safety mechanisms to be put in place at all tourism entities across the country. These include all accommodations, transportation, beaches, bars and restaurants, shopping venues, and spas. We're reopening the destination for tourism phases to further mitigate risk and have established two resilience corridors. One running from Negril across to the north coast to Port Antonio, and a secondary corridor along the south coast. Within these corridors, many resorts, hotels, and activities across the island have reopened under strict health and safety requirements, including popular attractions such as the 7 Mile Beach in Negril, Mystic Mountains, the Rose Hall Great House, etc. So protocols that are in place are designed to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 disease, including increased physical distancing, mask in public places, removal of shared or self-service items, installation of hand washing sanitization stations, visible cleaning, which takes place frequently. In fact, some people say too frequently, and more contactless technology-based transactions. We review our entry procedures and safety protocols frequently to ensure that we are addressing the issues with flexibility. Under our current reopening measures, Canadians are not required, I repeat, Canadians are not required to undergo a PCR test before arriving on the island. All Canadian travelers must complete a travel authorization questionnaire within 5 days of their anticipated travel and receive a certification in order to travel to Jamaica.
So Canadians are welcome on the island. They do not need a COVID test, but they do have to pre-register. Thank you. That is very clear. There has been a little bit of an uptick in virus cases in Jamaica since about August. Has Jamaica's resilient corridor been effective in keeping both tourists and residents safe at this time?
The answer is an unqualified yes. Our tourism partners located in Jamaica's resilient corridors are operating under strict guidelines to ensure the safety of visitors, residents, and tourism workers. Approved hotels, resorts, attractions, and transportation companies have been inspected and are compliant with the required standards of training, protective equipment, and processes. All employees and patrons of these facilities are required to observe the established protocols of hand hygiene, social physical distancing, and the wearing of masks in public spaces. To date, there have been no known of COVID-19 cases among tourism sector employees from an incoming international visitor within the resilient corridor on the island. This is an incredibly positive sign and speaks to the vigilance of our workers and the strength and effectiveness of the protocols in our airports and within the protected resilient corridor.
That's great. Excellent to hear. Can you let us know what have been the biggest challenges you're facing as a government when you're trying to balance, the reopening of tourism versus the safety of the residents?
Well, until there is mass access to a vaccine, we continue to eliminate the risk of COVID-19 entirely. For now, we must use our available resources in a targeted way to manage and mitigate the risk as we restart our economy and bring it back to full productive capacity as quickly as possible. The situation is changing day by day, and we have had to remain flexible and agile in our reopening plans while balancing the unique needs and interests of tourism workers, residents, and international visitors. We are working hard to reopen in the safest way possible and in a way that protects lives and livelihoods while showcasing the beauty of Jamaica to visitors from around the world.
Yes, I do understand it to be a very tricky balancing act. What kind of occupancy rates are you seeing at the hotels right now? And is there any room for optimism for this winter's booking season?
Well, things are already beginning to turn around, Devin. We continue to slowly ramp up arrivals, working with our partners. And as of the end of August, we welcome more than 100,000 passengers. Mindful of the current situation, however, we know that it will be a slow ramp up over the next 18 months. We estimate that we'll be receiving 35 to 40% of the usual arrival figures over the next year. Indeed, we are cautiously optimistic for the coming winter season. Our expectation for the tourism industry then is to deliver a seamless holiday experience with visitors enjoying the best that Jamaica has to offer in a safe manner. We are confident that we will continue to see that reflected in our visitor numbers.
Are you happy with the amount of lift coming into Jamaica right now? Is it a nice balance of demand and supply, or are you, very adamant about getting more lift as soon as possible?
Well, airlift to Jamaica from Canada has increased slowly and steadily, with Air Canada and WestJet now operating into the destination, and additional airlines expected to resume service in the coming months. While we would love to see the lifts increase substantially, we understand the unique realities facing Canadian citizens. The government travel advisory and current quarantine protocols make it incredibly difficult for Canadians to travel internationally at this time. Once these safety measures are lifted, we hope to see a significant boost in flights to the destination in order to meet the increased consumer demands.
Yes, even though it's cold here, I think demand is a little bit low on our end, I must admit. What percentage of Jamaican resorts have already opened? And if they don't see a big boost in bookings, are some of them likely to be in trouble this year financially?
Well, to date, several of the Jamaican hotel resorts and attractions have reopened in accordance with the COVID-19 protocols. Our agency responsible for compliance, the Tourism Product Development Company, has indicated that some 675 entities are COVID compliant. Naturally, we're very aware of the devastating impact that the pandemic has had on our local economy and the potential threat this poses to the long-term viability of our tourism partners. With this in mind, we are doing everything we can to drive tourism in a safe and responsible manner.
We have been getting quite a bit of support from the Trudeau government here in Canada. Are you, the government in Jamaica, are you offering any support to the tourism industry to try and keep it going through these tough times?
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic forced the closure of Jamaica's tourism sector, as you know. Tens of thousands of workers were displaced from their jobs. During this forced downtime, the government of Jamaica sought to help these workers improve their professional skills by offering a series of free online certification courses. The program was conceived to help tourism workers obtain certification from internationally recognized organizations, acquire new skills, and prepare them to engage with the guests as travel resumed. The training program was extremely well received. Registration and enrollment were 4 times higher than anticipated, and engagement throughout the courses was very high. So while the resumption of tourism on the island, with the resumption of tourism on the island, TPDCO has implemented a detailed training program to ensure workers across the industry understand how to deploy our rigorous health and safety protocols and how to effectively communicate with guests. This includes technical training sessions, as well as communication and emotional service support for hospitality workers. The government of Jamaica has also been supporting the tourism sector with a series of creative digital marketing initiatives designed to inspire future travel. Now that borders are open, we continue to create strong marketing campaigns as we go through the next few phases of reopening. In addition to our international marketing efforts, we are encouraging residents to explore the destination and book domestic experiences with our Rediscover Jamaica campaign. We've also engaged in a number of care package distributions to thousands of tourism workers. But most importantly, we created a stimulus package of some 5 billion Jamaican dollars to assist the small and medium tourism enterprises to become COVID compliant and to help to manage through the difficult period. And finally, we provided a program of support for the workers who are displaced. And they each got something like 54,000 Jamaican dollars every month up until August of this year. So a full package of stimulus for the sector, including fiscal and marketing support, have been encouraged and in fact laid out by the government.
Well, sounds like you have been very busy. We know how important tourism is to Jamaica, so I'm sure you're doing as much as you can to support it. And it's actually really nice to hear how much attention you're giving to training so that when Canadians do come visit the island, we'll feel safe and all the safety and hygiene protocols will be firmly in place. It's very nice to hear. My final question to you is, what message do you have for Canadian travel agents about selling Jamaica and getting people to the island in a time of such uncertainty?
Well, Jamaica has gone through great lengths to ensure the safety of our citizens and our visitors. As we head into the fall and winter season, our main priority is rebuilding our tourism sector and ensuring a smooth experience for everyone who visits the island. What is paramount is keeping travelers, tourism workers, and our local communities as safe as possible, while allowing the unique, vibrant spirit of Jamaica to shine through. Jamaica is ready and prepared to welcome visitors, and we want to thank our valued Canadian travel partners for trusting our new protocols and providing continued support for the destination. I encourage agents to stay connected during this difficult time and get in touch with our regional representative from the Jamaica Tourist Board in Canada to learn more about the country's entry protocols and hear timely updates and news from hotels and attractions in our destination.
Thank you, Minister. I really appreciate you being here with us today. You know, I personally have had so many fun times in Jamaica. I can't wait to go back to the island. So, you know, anything us agents can do in Canada or here at Travelweek to help support Jamaica through this, we are very open and willing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Devin, and look forward to seeing you in Jamaica as quickly as possible. All those wonderful things you enjoyed are still here and waiting on you.
Excellent. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye now. Good.
Hi, you're back with me. I am here with Samantha Taylor. She is the Chief Marketing Officer for Sunwing. Welcome, Samantha.
Hi, good afternoon.
It's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to have Sunwing with us. I just want to talk about one of the things you announced in very recent days, which of course was Sunwing teaming up with Manulife to offer COVID-19 insurance. And this is obviously several companies in the travel industry have done this, even some destinations and airlines, of course, and it's been wonderful news. And can you just talk a little bit about the reaction that you were hearing from your travel agent partners?
Sure, Catherine, I'd be happy to talk about that. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so thrilled to be here. We've had such incredible positive feedback from our travel agent partners. We know that having insurance was a very critical step in ensuring the customer confidence was there as we go to return back to travel. So we are very proud to have made that move to be able to offer that. Of course, we also recognize that that insurance is a beautiful complement to the other insurance offerings that are available when customers book with Sunwing. You have the worry-free insurance that allows you to cancel up to 3 hours before departure, as well as our existing Manulife insurance. And so all of these pieces are really meant to reinforce to our customers that they have ultimate flexibility when they're moving to book their next vacation this winter, and to give our trade partners every opportunity to instill that confidence with those customers.
That's great. And when there's so many messages to get out, it's always a good thing. I mean, there's so much good news to get out there, and the challenge, of course, is just to get the messaging out there in this difficult time. What are you hearing from consumers? I know when you launched it, obviously you would have been, getting it out on as many channels as possible. You have such a following in terms of the loyal travelers who travel with you guys again and again, and then of course, everybody knows the Sunwing name in Canada. What were you hearing from consumers, and did you see? I know this isn't a typical winter. Bookings are never going to be what they would be in a normal winter, but did you see a little bit of an uptick?
Yeah, we heard very positive feedback from our customers. Again, we really see this as a marathon and not a sprint. There are so many different layers to making sure that we're building back customer confidence. This was one of many pieces that we are putting in place to make sure that customers feel very confident. I think both the insurance as well as in partnership with our newly launched Royalton sale has given some of the most phenomenal prices that we've ever offered, have allowed us to really inspire those first adopters and first travelers post-COVID-19 to feel comfortable in that decision to return to travel. So like I said, it's a marathon and not a sprint, and we are constantly working at ensuring that we are offering different programs to make sure that our customers feel safe.
That's the marathon, not a sprint, is that really puts it in perspective and sort of keeps everybody's realizing that this is going to be a long journey, and not to expect any magic solutions, but that everything that the industry and in this case Sunwing is doing is getting it one step closer to the finish line. You mentioned obviously keeping consumers feeling safe, and of course making sure that travel agents know that their clients are well cared for. Do you want to tell us a bit more about Sunwing's health and safety protocols?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. So back in June, we started work on a pretty comprehensive program called Safe with Sunwing. And the intention there is to really look at the entire journey and ensure that we had the highest safety and health protocols across the entire journey. For us, we're in a very unique situation where we actually own the airline, as well as the in-destination transportation, as well as our hotels, more than 35 of them across the Caribbean and Mexico. And that puts us in a unique position of being able to lay out what those health and safety protocols are across the entire journey. It also gives us a unique position of being able to have those protocols developed and created out of Toronto in our Canadian marketplace. So we are really looking to establish the highest Canadian standards for our customers throughout the entire journey. That's been a program that we have consistently been communicating with our travel agent partners as well as the end customer, so that they fully recognize all of the changes that were being made across that entire journey. Just recently, last week, we also announced a more official partnership with Medcan, which is a global provider of health advisory. They've come on board to really look at those protocols and be able to ensure that we have thought of everything in terms of making our customers feel safe. And Medcan is a very large global brand that has also acted in the same capacity for companies like the TTC and TIFF. And we were so proud and so happy to have them acting as our chief medical advisor to the program. To have somebody neutral like that overseeing the protocols gives us peace of mind, and hopefully gives our travel agent partners peace of mind that we have set the bar very high, and we're fully committed to making sure that every one of our customers who chooses to travel with us going forward has a wonderful, safe, and secure experience. And the other thing that I would say about that is we are also in a unique position that the entire protocols are really driven by Canadian companies at Canadian standards. And so whether you find yourself leaving Toronto or leaving any sort of gateway in Canada and in any sort of hotel across the Caribbean, if it is a Sunwing hotel, you know that those protocols were being driven out of Canada.
I think that so obviously when we're all of us, you, me, everyone watching here, everyone in the travel industry knows so well how vertically integrated Sunwing is, and obviously the average consumer may not know that, but I think even the average consumer does understand. They own, the airline is Sunwing, the tour operator is Sunwing. They have their own very robust hotels, resorts division that has been up and running for quite many years now, and also the on the ground, the transportation and that sort of thing, the touring, as you said, that really offers peace of mind when everything is up to, a standard that Canadian travelers are familiar with, and that peace of mind. I mean, that's everything right now. Peace of mind is everything right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about, I love Sunwing's, it's just the color orange. When I think of Sunwing, I think of the color orange. Your ads, your promotions, your campaigns are always been so visible over the years. Your sales are legendary. Now, of course, it's a very difficult, challenging, let's use the word challenging time to be marketing travel. Given that Sunwing has always been so visible with its promotions and its advertising with the trade and with the consumers, do you want to talk a bit about, in your role, how is Sunwing approaching that without, nobody wants to appear tone deaf in this environment? How are you approaching promoting travel for the coming winter, keeping in mind everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, it certainly, to say that it's been a unique time, I'll say that to the least, it's been a very kind of exciting time, and we're kind of constantly evolving what our strategy is in the market. I'll say three things that we hold quite close to our heart is this idea of consistency, communication, and repetition, and making sure that we can't actually communicate everything at any given point. And so staying very close to our customers and make sure that the messaging that we're delivering is as strong as possible to what they want to hear. And so probably the most dominant message that you have seen from us over the last 5 months has been around our safety protocols throughout that journey, and really reinforcing the changes and the additions that we've made to that to make sure that Canadians have confidence in terms of their upcoming vacation. We're then now moving into a more commercial aspect with really offering some phenomenal rates, some incredible promotions to help those first adopters feel very comfortable in making those first trips. So the Royalton sale was kind of just the beginning of it, and we're so happy with how that is off to a great start. But how do we ensure that people feel very confident and have enough of a great deal to be able to make that first jump into travel, and really look at them as being our biggest brand advocates. Those first customers that are traveling with us throughout the Caribbean are also having an amazing time. And so we look at every single one of them as an opportunity to have them tell other people that right now it is safe to travel, you can travel, and the idea of responsible traveling is something we hold very dear, and we want to really have our customers be able to communicate that as well. And so that piece is kind of happening right now, where we've moved through the Safe with Sunwing. Now we're into some incredible deals and offers for those first movers, but we're also really crafting that messaging around being a supportive partner to those people who are interested in traveling. So we do know that people are looking and they're considering, and there's a lot of unknowns out there about whether or not you can travel, where can you travel to. We want to make sure that we're answering those questions, and that customers know that they're not alone or they're not bad for thinking about travel, that you can do it in a responsible way, and that we're here for them in that journey, and to make sure that they also know lots of people are looking and dreaming. When you think about the next 6 months, it's going to be very different than the previous 6 months. We're going to move from a plus 30 degrees to a minus 30 degrees, and people's headspace starts to change at that point. We want to make sure that people feel supported, and if they want to look around and they want to consider traveling, that they can do it in a responsible way, and that we have the protocols in place to keep them safe.
I think that's so important what you're saying about, I know when people are saying like, oh, I'm going to take a trip, and maybe their friends or neighbors say, oh, gee, do you really think you should be doing that right now? And that's kind of a phenomenon that everybody's seeing in the past few weeks. And it's everybody's risk tolerance is very different, and people have to respect each other's situation. Some people may not be in a situation where they can travel, but some people, you know, may be in a situation where they can travel. And as you say, people are looking, they're dreaming, the snow will start to fly. And especially if we get through this second wave, and if it's, you know, manageable and not too bad, you know, I can, you know, nobody has a crystal ball, everybody wishes they had one, but it certainly seems like even if the early part of the winter might be still fairly hesitant, you know, as long as things go okay, I could see that the second part of winter could be quite, you know, quite a good news story, hopefully. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we just want to make sure that we do our piece to remove anyone feeling awkward or that they're not doing anything appropriate by considering travel. To your point, everybody has different risk level, and you can travel safely and responsibly. And there are lots of places that you can travel to now. So we want to do our part in making sure that the customer knows that.
That's great. That's great messaging. It just sounds very right on the exact tone that it should be. That sounds perfect. Is there any indication that you know, this winter, obviously it's not going to be like other winters, but you know, our bookings to some maybe some islands that people are very familiar with, are they at least a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel? Is it a little bit more positive than maybe might have been expected?
Yeah, so I'm actually happy to share, Catherine, that we are seeing data points of positive traffic from a dreaming standpoint. Our partners on platforms like Pinterest have shared with us that travel has actually gone through the roof, which really would be kind of the first indicator on people's wanting to look around and dream and kind of inspire on what that next trip can look like. Based on some of the feedback that we were receiving, both from our travel agent partners and from our third-party platforms, we actually had a couple questions in Angus Reid's Omnibus that actually went last week. And one of the questions was really trying to establish how many people are dreaming. And it was just about an hour ago that I got the results, but I would be thrilled to share this kind of headline that came out of it. For us, it was certainly very inspiring that of the Canadians who actually do vacation regularly, 71% indicate their intent on having a trip in the next 12 months. And that's an amazing number. And I think it also is such an indicator that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that once government restrictions relax and we are in a better place, that people don't feel confined upon their return, that there is pent-up demand there, that Canadians do want to return to their kind of global approach to their lives. And 71% of people considering a trip in the next 12 months is a strong statistic that certainly gives me a strong comfort level that the appetite is there when the time is right and when the comfort level is right.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, anything 70, even if it was 50, it would be thrilling to have 71%. I mean, that's a very strong figure and quite an excellent majority. So I agree. That's awesome news. Just to wrap up, we've got about a minute left. Do you have any message you want to do a message for your travel agent partners?
Yeah, I would love to just share that we really feel like the travel agent community is our first customer. We feel so strongly that our partnerships with them have been so incredible over the years. And we also recognize that as we go forward, they will be a critical part of the restart of this industry. And so we want to work very, very closely with them. And I guess if asked the question kind of what is moving and some insights on there, I would say what we're hearing when we talk to our customers is that people want to remove any unknowns from their upcoming trips. So we've had lots of focus groups with customers. They continue to reinforce, remove the unknowns for me. And to a certain extent within that, there's also a more openness to go back to resorts or destinations that they know and that they trust and that they love from past experience. And so that's kind of the first piece I would focus on. Where have you gone to in the past that you loved? Because you're already removing so many unknowns from them. We we would say that that's a great opportunity to inspire that dialogue. And then the second piece on that is always sell what's selling. People have access to information 24/7. They're doing their research. They know which locations are doing an amazing job and where they're comfortable. And so what is selling is most likely been a little bit crowdsourced. And so in those two pieces, I would say look for both of those as opportunities to engage with your customer as we relaunch this together.
That's great. That's sell what's selling is awesome advice. And also, as you say, if somebody's gone to a certain resort, you know, maybe 4 times over the past 10 years, that's obviously a resort that they love and they're comfortable with. And as you say, that removes one of those unknowns, and that's what people are looking for. So that's excellent advice. Thank you so much, Samantha. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So now we're going to throw it back over to Cindy, our deputy editor. She is talking to Kenroy Eber, who is the chairman of the Anguilla Tourism Board.
Hi, everyone. As Catherine said, we have Kenroy on standby. Hi, Kenroy, you there?
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for being here. It's great to have you. I'm sure everyone is excited to learn more about Anguilla. So let's start with you telling everyone listening in what the situation is currently like on the island. Is it safe to visit at this time? How many cases of COVID are there? And are Canadians allowed to go?
Well, first of all, Anguilla is COVID-free. The sky is blue, the ocean is blue, and currently our borders remain closed for regular commercial movements until at least October 31st. In regards to COVID, we've only had 3 cases of COVID, and all have been recovered since April of this year. Anguilla is probably one of the safest destinations right now, as I mentioned, because we're COVID-free. And having said that, we look forward to opening our borders, and we also want to do so in a very safe way that is both safe for our visitors and our locals alike.
That's great to hear that you're COVID-free. We also recently learned that Anguilla has temporarily opened applications for tourists to visit. Can you walk us through the application process? How do Canadians apply? What do they need to do? And are there any fees involved?
Yes, of course. So visitors who want to visit Anguilla can apply by going to our website, www.ivisitangula.com. When you click on our website, there's a pop-up window that will appear that will take all the visitors directly to the information that would help you through the process to apply to enter into Anguilla. I should also point out that even returning residents should also click on this particular website to apply to return to Anguilla. Now, once approved, visitors can make their travel arrangements and will be required to present a negative PCR test within 3 to 5 days prior to travel. Upon arrival, all travelers will be required or subjected to a temperature test, also subjected to another PCR test. We don't like to use the word quarantine, but after you take your test upon arrival, you'll be escorted to your accommodations, where we like to use the term vacation in place or stay in place for between 10 to 14 days, depending on where you're coming from. Once you have successfully completed that period, you will be required to take another test. Once the test is negative, then you will be allowed to roam free in Anguilla and enjoy all the amenities we have to offer. In regards to fees, the protocols, no. These protocols were introduced from the time we had the soft opening, and these protocols will continue for the foreseeable future.
That's great to hear. Thank you for that overview of all these new protocols. And I'm sure they've all been designed and implemented specifically for Anguilla. But, protocols, as we've seen and heard, differ from one island to the next. Do you think there should be a standardized set of safety protocols across the region to sort of streamline the process and provide clarity to travelers?
It would be nice to standardize entry requirements, throughout all the islands, and all the islands have their specific entry requirements because realistically, each country attract different visitors with different clientele from different countries. So it would be difficult for each island to have the same entry requirement, even though we would love for that to happen.
Okay. We all know Anguilla to be one of the region's smaller islands, which has become one of your top selling points. Everyone loves that small, intimate feel of Anguilla, which is, what everyone thinks of when they think of the authentic Caribbean. But with all these safety measures in place, people wearing masks and all that, do you think it's still possible for visitors to get that same authentic experience on the island?
Yes, certainly. But we believe that once the vacation in place period is over, visitors will be able to move freely around the island and enjoy all the amenities and services offered here. It may seem, like Anguilla is going to a 9th degree. However, our desire is to continue to be a safe place to visit and for a visitor to look to Anguilla for longer stays. A significant outbreak could quickly overwhelm our health facilities here in Anguilla. Anguilla, like you mentioned, is a small country, small hospital. So these protocols are in place to keep the environment in Anguilla safe for locals and our visitors alike.
Keeping with the topic of safety, travel agents want to know that their clients will be in good hands once they're in destination. Can you sort of walk us through what will happen should a traveler falls ill with COVID while they're in Anguilla? What's the protocol? Do they get immediately quarantined? What happens?
So first of all visitors to Anguilla will be staying in pre-approved accommodations, which means that these accommodations would have gone through stringent testing. Staff will be trained, to be able to deal with COVID. If there's a visitor who, God forbid, contracts COVID while they're in quarantine or while they're on the island, there are several things that can be done. They can be isolated, taken to a different facility to be isolated from the rest of their members. If the person falls ill and needs to be hospitalized, we also have the capabilities here to handle that particular situation. So we are all trained and ready for what, God forbid, may come.
That's great to hear. I'm sure, agents are reassured hearing what, you're prepared to do. Obviously, keeping residents and travelers safe is a top priority for any destination right now. Would you say that is your biggest challenge over the next year, or is it a combination of things?
It is a combination of things. And, us here at the Tourist Board, our mandate is to of course, to increase the visitors and arrivals to Anguilla. And we expect that visitors will want to come. Our challenge, I think our biggest challenge is to keep Anguilla safe as well as for visitors. So they'll keep coming. But we also can't let our increasing desire for visitors to outweigh the need for caution. So, we have to marry the two where we can open up safely for visitors and also keep the economy going. I think that is our biggest challenge.
Okay. And, with all these new challenges that you're facing, has Anguilla been forced to sort of shift their marketing approach? I know a lot of islands are doing that. Do you think there's an opportunity here during this crisis to sort of reach new markets in this new normal?
Yes, certainly. Especially in regards to Canada, most Canadians travel to Anguilla via St. Martin. And right now we are focusing on long-term stays. So that's a shift in the market. We would love for folks to come here and stay 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, even work from Anguilla remotely, 6 months, a year. So we have been forced to shift from the shorter term stays because of our protocols and focus more on long term stays and also digital nomad programs.
Are you finding demand for long terms increasing into winter? Like, how is your winter season shaping up? Are you optimistic at all?
Very optimistic. The winter season, there is very, very much a demand. There's pent-up demand for folks who want to travel to Anguilla, both in the long term and the short term, especially the long term, surprisingly.
That's great to hear. And we have a bunch of travel agents watching right now. What do you want to say to them? Do you have any message from Anguilla? I'm sure all of them are, waiting to send clients back. What do you want to say to them?
Well, first of all, we want to thank the travel agents for continuing to sell Anguilla, promote Anguilla. Anguilla, second of all, is COVID-free. We're safe. We walk around on Anguilla and we go about our business. We are safe. We are prepared to handle you. When you come to Anguilla, we have protocols in place to be able to deal with every scenario, even though we have, the stay in place protocol. Once that protocol is over, you can roam free and enjoy Anguilla. So we want to say, please come to Anguilla, and you're going to be treated the way your customer being treated, and Anguilla is safe. So please come to Anguilla, continue to promote Anguilla, and we look forward to having you.
That's great, Kenroy. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm sure everyone has learned a lot more about Anguilla, and hopefully agents will be able to send their clients back soon. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for having me.
Have a good day. Now let's go back to Devin,
You
everybody.
too.
We are getting very close to another round of exciting prizing. But first, some messages from our partners. Up first, Turks and Caicos.
Here in the Turks and Caicos Islands, the past few months have given us the opportunity to rediscover what truly makes this country beautiful by nature. Never before have we had as much time to explore our own backyards, grow closer to our neighbors, and reimagine the possibilities of our destination in this new world. Prior to arrival, you will have to submit 3 required items to our TCI Assured travel portal on our tourist board website. A negative COVID-19 PCR test taken within 5 days prior to arrival, proof of medical insurance, and a health screening form. From our most luxurious hotels and chartered boating vessels to our local artists and craftsmen, our entire tourism industry is excited and prepared to safely welcome you back to a destination that's even more majestic. We've seen an abundance of wildlife reclaiming natural environments from the nation's capital of Grand Turk to the fishing haven of South Caicos. On the historical treasure island that is Salt Key, all the way to the breathtaking cliffs of Middle Caicos, we have rediscovered a love for our country that we can't wait to share with you. All across these islands, local people have embraced their roots and heritage, cooking delicious traditional meals, enjoying native ripsaw music, and taking care of our vibrant local communities with love. Whether you intend to enjoy luxury accommodations on Providenciales' famed Grace Bay Beach or the simplicity of life in the green island of North Caicos, we safely and wholeheartedly welcome you back to a natural paradise that's even more beautiful than before.
Those turquoise waters certainly look absolutely delightful, don't they? Next up, we have a message from Tobago.
Hello, Canadian agents. Although Tobago's borders remain closed to international travel for now, Our island's tourism sector is eagerly anticipating and steadfastly preparing for the return of our visitors from Canada and across the globe. At the Tobago Tourism Agency, we've been working closely with our local government and industry partners to implement new health and safety protocols that we've developed into a manual which has been endorsed by the World Travel and Tourism Council, the WTTC, with their Safe Travel stamp. We are all doing our part in Tobago to ensure that when Canadians are able to travel again, the idyllic island of Tobago will offer a safe escape. One of the most southerly located Caribbean islands, Tobago's location outside the hurricane belt provides for almost perfect weather year-round. So there's no shortage of things to do on this unspoiled island, no matter what type of Caribbean holiday you're looking for. Here are our top reasons to visit. Whether it's soaking up the sun, soaking in the surf, or seeking gorgeous sunsets, there's a strip of sand that's just right for everyone. And we do mean everyone. Experience the magic of a nighttime bioluminescence tour at the Bonaccord Lagoon, or swim with the turtles at Mount Irving, ride with horses through the surf at Boku Bay, or dip into the Fountain of Youth at the Nyland Pool. Discover our breathtaking natural environment and the eco-adventures that await you in unspoiled Tobago. Travelers can awaken their wild side and immerse in the flora and fauna of Tobago's treasured Main Ridge Forest, the oldest protected forest reserve in the Western Hemisphere and the future UNESCO Man and the Biosphere site. The island also offers some of the best bird watching in the Caribbean with 260 species of birds and counting. The island's intimate reef systems are rich in marine biodiversity, clear pristine waters, and its range of diving sites are natural treasures, making Tobago a sight to behold, both on land and water. Tobago is an island of festivals, so it's likely that any visit will coincide with a notorious cultural celebration. Our island's rich culture is also best experienced through our unique culinary offerings. Visitors can infuse their vacation with local flavor and treat their taste buds to delectable signature dishes like curried crab and dumplings or a fusion of Asian, European, and African cuisine. In Tobago, endless romance meets near limitless possibilities, which is why so many couples choose to say yes to starting their lives together in this unspoiled, untouched, and undiscovered paradise island. Whether the dream is to host a barefoot ceremony on a deserted beach, tied in knot beneath the dramatic, beautiful rainforest canopy, or simply find a natural, serene spot to unwind together with that special someone, Tobago delivers the ideal backdrop to celebrate the next chapter of any couple's love story.
With a population of just over 50,000, Tobago is also the perfect post-COVID holiday destination for travelers. With fewer crowds across the island, you can enjoy a tiny slice of paradise while still practicing physical distancing. There's a reason why Tobago is described as unspoiled, untouched, and undiscovered. Our hidden Caribbean gem is a balm for the soul in a time when we need it most. On island, you will find a variety of accommodation options suited to your every need and budget. From luxurious villas to family-friendly resorts, or even a quaint bed and breakfast. Many accommodation options are perfectly situated to take advantage of Tobago's stunning natural scenery. Travelers can wake up to the sound of waves crashing right outside the window, or find serenity in a private cabin surrounded by lush tropical scenery. You'll be sure to find the perfect home away from home for every taste. When our borders reopen, Tobago can be accessed several ways. From Canada, there are direct flights to Tobago with Sunwing and connecting flights via our sister island of Trinidad with Caribbean Airlines, Air Canada, and WestJet. Tobago eagerly awaits your return, and when the time is right, easy travel access will make paradise closer than you think.
The support of the Canadian travel agent community has been invaluable to Tobago over the past 2 winter seasons. We have seen significant growth in the market and great enthusiasm from our Canadian visitors. As an emerging destination, tourism means jobs and economic development, and we in Tobago are grateful that you have chosen to recommend us to your clients. We in turn extend our support and appreciation to you during this difficult time for the tourism industry. We do look forward to welcoming you back to Tobago soon, where we can offer a beyond ordinary experience to you and your clients.
Another island I certainly wouldn't mind visiting sometime very soon. Up next, we're going to talk to some of our hotel partners. Here with us today is Gavin from Bahia Principe to let us know what's going on with those resorts. Hi, Gavin.
Hello, Travel Week, and greetings to our Canadian travel agents. This is Gavin Jimenez, National Accounts Manager for Bahia Principe Hotels and Resorts. As we all know, this has been a challenging year, and especially for our industry, which has been heavily affected. Since July 1, Bahia Principe has opened select resorts in popular destinations like Dominican Republic, Mexico, and Jamaica. With travel commencing once more, Canadians can look forward to returning to all of these beautiful destinations. Certain guidelines are in place for arrivals in each jurisdiction, and it is recommended to verify if any restrictions are in place. You can contact our friends at each respective tourist board or local embassy. At each Bahia Principe hotel, health and safety protocols are in place in accordance to local governments and standards set up by HS Consulting, which is an international consulting firm specializing in the tourism industry. As a result, we've enacted principles to guarantee health and well-being. By ensuring healthy and sustainable settings like enforcing social distancing and preventative measures based on hygiene and sanitization. Bahia Principe has a mandatory policy of face mask usage for staff when a minimum distance of 2 meters cannot be maintained. The guidelines on face mask usage is determined by corresponding local governments, and similarly for guests, face mask usage is recommended when safe physical distancing is not possible. The health of employees is critical. Through training, providing PPE, and safe entrances for clients, employees, suppliers who are coming on site. We are committed to guaranteeing safe and responsible services with a high degree of customer service. We provide safety kits for guests upon arrival. From requesting health certifications from guests, sanitizing luggage on arrival, maintaining occupancy in public spaces, or assisted food services at buffet restaurants, these are some measures that are in place to adapt and anticipate guest needs. Travel during the 21st century is a digital experience. By using real-time information, guests can now check in advance using our hotel app, book dinners or spa services, and viewing menus using QR codes on their smartphone device. Safety goes hand in hand with everybody. I invite you to check out Bahia Principe's official YouTube channel, and you'll find our recent videos, which will outline in detail our health and safety protocols. In the end, a safe and enjoyable vacation is Bahia Principe's priority for all of our guests. We're looking forward to reopening the remaining resorts this November, especially the completely renovated Bahia Principe Grand Tulum. Keep in mind, foodies will love our new a la carte restaurants, which feature different cuisines such as Greek and Indian. We have new water parks for kids in Punta Cana and Riviera Maya. Couples can now get married by a cenote in the Riviera Maya, golf in DR and in Mexico, or just enjoy the natural vibe and culture of Jamaica. On behalf of my sales colleague, Michelle Grenier, and the entire Bahia Principe family, we thank you for your support. And to the travel agent community, we hope to see you all very soon.
Thank you, Gavin. How exciting. You can visit Bahia Principe resorts in Jamaica, DR, or Mexico. Up next, we're going to hear about some of the properties that CanLink represents.
Hi everyone, I'm Elaine from CanLink, here to give you a little bit of a reminder on what we do, hotels we represent, and how we can help you in hopefully securing sales to these luxury hotels in the very near future. Hope you're all doing okay and starting to see some inquiries come in. We certainly are. We're hearing from some agents with inquiries and bookings for a little bit later this year, of course festive, and for 2021. So that's good news, exciting news. We're happy about that. And of course, so are our hotels. Important to remember to recommend these luxury hotels to your clients. They offer now more than ever what everyone is looking for. Of course, extremely detailed health and safety protocols, especially for our luxury properties, but also a lot of privacy and space without a large number of people. So they've been able to enhance on what they were already doing before, which is offering lots of space, amazing room types, but of course customizing these experiences and enhancing the safety and health protocols, which we have information on all of this that we can offer to you. So I will go over the properties that we represent. But to remind you to offer these to your clients, of course, we're hearing from people who luckily have some luxury clients who are looking at these properties. But now more than ever, we are encouraging and hearing from some agents on for clients that are offering these hotels to clients that maybe wouldn't have considered them in the past. They were looking at maybe specific rooms or something like that, whereas now they're looking at the whole experience, the amount of space they have to offer and the customized experience. So imagine being in a 30-suite hotel, and even if we're full, that's a total of 60 people. So they are not concerned then about being with 400 or 500 people. They have an amazing experience, very private vacation with lots to offer. So keep that in mind, and we can help you and give you that information so that you can close the sale to your client. The hotels that we're representing, we are the local Canadian representative for Hermitage Bay in Antigua, a 30-suite all-inclusive property on the lovely island of Antigua, opening on October 1, so just around the corner. We also represent Spice Island Beach Resort on the island of Grenada, so directly on Grand Anse Beach. This 60-suite all-inclusive property is reopening next year, November 1, 2021. They're taking the time to enhance even more than they already have and come back with a super luxury product to offer you. So we're excited about that. We also represent on the lovely island of St. Lucia, the beautiful Anse Chastenay and Jade Mountain Resort. So imagine there you're on 600 acres of private property in any of the 29 sanctuaries at Jade Mountain or 49 suites at Anse Chastenay with 2 beaches, chocolate laboratory, lots there to choose from for customized experiences. In Turks and Caicos, we offer the Grace Bay Club. So a number of buildings there, 3 different buildings to choose from, depending on what your client's looking for, with suite accommodations, various sizes, and of course some standalone villas as well. In Jamaica, we have Jamaica Inn in Ocho Rios, lovely boutique property with amazing history, various meal plans, very private beach, great options there to choose from, as well as Round Hill Hotel and Villas in the Montego Bay area. So there you have a choice of oceanfront hotel rooms or a number of different villa suites or villas. So that's a lovely property to put your clients in as well. And of course, Trial Villas in Jamaica that sits on over 2,000 acres. So there we have 90 different villas to choose from. So 2 bedrooms right up to 10 bedrooms. So great choices there too. In Barbados, we're happy to announce that we are now representing Ocean Hotels Barbados. So there you have a choice of 3 different properties: Sea Breeze Beach House, Ocean 2 Resort, and also South Beach Hotel. So a number of options in Barbados. So all of these Caribbean islands, looking forward to welcoming you and your clients. Of course, our hotels as well. And this can be through either your tour operator partners or with a hotel direct booking. Some of our properties are available with your tour operators. And again, we're happy to give you all the information to help you close that sale, choose the right room choice, give you a list of what's going on, spa, restaurant, special VIP amenities. And of course, we can do that also with any direct bookings for some of our hotels that are not in the tour operator programs. Many luxury agents are booking these directly with the properties. So we can help you make that booking happen too. Happy to help with that. So keep us in mind for all of these options. You don't have to remember them all. Some agents remember us for specific hotels we represent, or all of them, or if you're just looking for an honest opinion and help choosing the right thing for your client, we're here to help you make that happen. So we look forward to working with you even more, helping you with those inquiries, and mostly helping you close that sale and make some fabulous bookings, keeping your customers really, really happy. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thank you. That was a great overview. Now, what everyone's been waiting for, another round of prizing. Our first winner is Cindy Scala of CAA, and she has won a Kindle. Please make yourself known in the chat box, and my Travel Week team will help you. Our second winner is winning a $100 Amazon gift card, and this goes to Chris Stillwell of Ellison Travel and Tours. Yay! Again, please make yourself known in the chat box. All right, we continue onwards. I'm now passing it back to Catherine.
Hi, welcome back everybody. I'm here with Lizzie Cole. She is the Executive Director of Promotion for the Quintana Roo Tourism Board. Hi, Lizzie.
Hi. Hi, great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Quintana Roo is one of the best known states of Mexico, and especially for all your destinations, which of course are, Cancun, Riviera Maya, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen. You have so many shining stars. Before we get into your destination specifically, I know Mexico has been one of the highlights this season because it has been, quite open about what it takes to come to Mexico, and it has been quite easy to get to enter Mexico. Can you talk a bit about if clients are interested in traveling to Mexico this winter? Are there any entry requirements for Canadian travelers?
Well, our destination has been open since June 8. Mexico in general is open for international visitors, and it remained open throughout the pandemic. So in Quintana Roo, the reopening of hotels, as instructed by the governor, Carlos Joaquin, it started in June 8. We started receiving more international flights then, and of course, also domestic tourism. So it's being orderly. We have a traffic light system in terms of the gradual reopening stages, and we are currently in the yellow light, which means that activities, hotels, restaurants, etc., can be open at 60% maximum occupancy. And the requirements to come into the country, it's basically to fill out a questionnaire when you arrive at Cancun or Cozumel Airport in the Mexican Caribbean, in our state. You are being checked by these thermographic cameras that take temperatures without bothering the travelers. And you have to fill out a form requesting some health information. And that's basically it. The protocol at the airport is very strict. Every surface, suitcase, everything is being sanitized. Hygiene protocols are very high level, and the usage of face masks are mandatory as well.
Okay, so that's good to know. It's a situation where there is a form, there is a temperature check, but Canadian travelers wouldn't need to get a negative PCR test. They wouldn't need to quarantine when they get there. It's a form and a temperature check, and very, very comprehensive protocols. But beyond that, Canadian travelers are able to go.
Absolutely. We currently are receiving Canadian travelers. We're very happy about that. And I understand that for the tourists from Canada to come here, they have to quarantine when they go back to their country. But we are seeing a rise in the number of people who are willing to do this, and because they love our destination. So we are very excited. Currently, we have 10 flights per week from different gateways.
That's great, and of course you're right. The Canadians can't yet escape that 14-day quarantine when we come back. We haven't gotten rid of that yet, but we're hopeful. The government measures make a lot of sense, but I think the quarantine is the one that everybody would like to see go first. But anyway, and you mentioned the traffic light system, and I know that Mexico has been very open about its system, and that's been very helpful. I know that now that you're in the yellow light, which is great news. The resorts can go up to a capacity of 60%, 60. I think it was 30% before at the old level. Do you get the feeling that a lot of resorts are able to make that 60%? Is there enough demand that there is the 60% capacity, or most, it's obviously a transition time right now because it's fairly recently you went to yellow, but is 60% doable for a lot of resorts, do you think?
Well, some of the resorts are reaching that number. In general, hotel occupancy ranges from 35 to 40% in the whole Mexican Caribbean, in the whole state. But we have learned that some of the properties are reaching the 50% or 55% occupancy rates. It depends. When I say general occupancy, of course, we have to talk about the whole state, and that brings the occupancy a little bit lower. However, I must point out that this month we just reached the 1 million visitor mark from the beginning of the reopening, which was, as I said before, in early June. So we already have received 1 million passengers.
That is amazing. I mean, to hear the words 1 million in the year 2020 with anything associated with travel is, to be honest, amazing news. So that's fantastic. And I know I was mentioning to another one of the speakers, a lot of it is word of mouth. It's if somebody's neighbors go to Mexico, have a great time, the masks is fine. Everybody is following the protocols, and they hear that feedback, and that just adds to the million. So that's fantastic. What are you seeing for the holiday season? Obviously, normally the end of December is extremely popular for every sun destination out of Canada. Do you get a sense from the resorts that you're talking to? Are they seeing any sort of in these early days, but are they seeing any sort of good signs for the holiday booking season?
Well, as you can probably know, we are in very close contact with airlines, with tour operators, and with the hoteliers. Definitely, we need to have these feedback to see what's going on. And what we're seeing is an increase in demand for the end of the year. So we are very confident that we will reach with no problem the 60% occupancy rates by then. Also, checking flight capacity from October to December, we are seeing, at least what's been published up to now, it's an additional 110,000 seats, plane seats, for that season compared to the previous year, which is really outstanding considering the circumstances.
That's fantastic. This is great to hear. Now I know that obviously because Canadians generally can't travel, they can travel right now, but there are hurdles in place that our neighbors to the south, the Americans, they don't necessarily have some of those hurdles. And so I know that a lot of the people who would be coming to Mexico for vacations right now would be from the United States. And that's great. But I know for some Canadians, we get a lot of news about obviously the case numbers in the United States. Is there any concern that from the Canadian market, some Canadian travelers may be, and this isn't just for Mexico because everybody gets travelers from the United States, but would there be any concern that Canadian travelers might be a little bit hesitant because, well, if I go to a resort and there's lots of, American visitors there and I'm not sure with their numbers, is there any concern about that?
Well, I think it's a natural concern. And however, I would like to point out that since the reopening, we have seen a decrease in numbers. We haven't seen a rise in numbers. So the protocols are very strict, and the hotels have been doing a fantastic job in implementing their own protocols. The Ministry of Tourism here in Quintana Roo implemented back in May this the certification, this clean and safe check certification program for hotel and tourism related companies. And to date, we have 7,000 different companies registered to get this certification. This means that they need to comply with 250 plus guidelines in order to get certified. And we are seeing an amazing commitment from the private sector to get the certification or different type of certification, international certifications. For example, all of the hotel chains have their own safety and sanitizing programs and protocols in place. And some of them, most of them, are doing an amazing job in communicating this to the public and making sure that visitors feel safe when visiting and staying at the hotel. So this is the top priority. The governor has been very adamant in telling everyone involved that the reopening must be following the very high level of hygiene and protection for the workers, for the people that we live here, and of course for our visitors. So if you follow the protocols, social distancing is very easy to do while you're in destination. The properties are large and you can be out in open spaces. Most of the activities take place in open spaces, and you can enjoy a relaxing vacation without having to worry about that.
That's great. And I know it must be it's a challenge because, as you said, the strict protocols are all in place. The resort companies all have their, checklist of everything that they've done. And of course, then it's on to the guests to actually follow the protocols. And, just like anywhere, the vast majority do. And there might be a small minority that feels like, I don't really feel like wearing a mask right now. I'm not going to wear it. Have there been any concerns about non-compliance and how did the resorts handle that, to your knowledge? How did they, because I've heard we had one of our writers was in Cancun and she had a wonderful time and she had mentioned that she had a mask on all the time. And this obviously isn't just Cancun, but this would be other destinations as well. But some guests, are just not always going to wear the mask when they're supposed to. How do you handle that?
Well, the hotels have the protocols, and everywhere you go, they check your temperature, they make you step on a sanitizing mat, and they ask you to wear a mask. So if you go out shopping, for example, you go out to the mall, every single store you come into, you will have to go through that process again. And every time you go into a restaurant, you will be asked to follow the same protocol. Of course, when you're sitting at your table, many restaurants have even sanitizing wipes and everything ready for you if you need it. And of course, you can take your mask off when you're eating. At the resorts, when you're in public areas, like if you're in the pool or if you're on the beach, you can take your face mask absolutely to enjoy. We want to make the guests feel comfortable and protected without having it feel like you're walking through a hospital. And that is very important as well. With social distancing and using your mask when you are in public spaces, like I said before, shopping, or entering supermarkets and things like that, you must have it, and you will be asked to or will be denied access.
Okay, that's great to know. And I was just thinking, we're social people. If there's 10 people and 9 of them are wearing the mask and one of them isn't, I mean, we talked a bit about with Sunwing about the travel shaming. We don't want to obviously get into that because everybody has a right to decide whether or not to travel. But maybe there'll be a little bit of some side eye given if somebody's not wearing a mask, and that usually solves that problem without having it escalate to a big confrontation. So as you said, if they're going shopping and they can't come into the store without a mask, they get the message pretty quickly. So hopefully everybody plays by the rules. Yeah, I was going to say with entering the yellow light stage, I know that a lot of the archaeological sites also reopened, and they're a huge draw for your destination. Can you talk a little bit about crowd control at some of these ruins where normally, we're used to seeing huge crowds because they're so popular? Can you talk a little bit about that with COVID protocols?
Well, the archaeological sites, since they have to follow the federal protocols, just recently reopened about 2-3 weeks ago, and they're following the same protocols. No more than 10 people groups are allowed. Even guided groups must comply with these 10 maximum number. So you have to also remember that the archaeological sites are big areas, open space. Once again, it's so easy to keep your social distance, and if you see like a group of people here, you can walk the other way no problem. And of course, usage of face masks and sanitizing gel is definitely a must when you are coming into the archaeological site.
Okay, so that's good. So obviously they wouldn't have reopened unless they had that all worked out. So that's more peace of mind. Just for our final question, we've got about a minute left. Do you want to give any message to Canadian travel agents about why they should be recommending Mexico and specifically Quintana Roo to their clients?
Well, I would love to tell the audience, and I thank the travel agent community from Canada for joining today and listening to me. I appreciate the time, and I would like to let you know that we're doing everything in our power to make the stay of your clients and yours, if you want to come and visit, a pleasurable one, that the destination is open, that the resorts are amazing, our beaches are amazing, and you have so much to see and enjoy here. The food, the cenotes, the archaeological sites that were mentioned just before. So we're ready and waiting. And of course, take your time, do it at your own pace, but I'm sure you'll have a very safe and happy stay with us.
That's great. That's a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much, Lizzie, for joining us. And I'm now going to throw it over to Cindy.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thanks, Lizzie. I'm here now with Carolyn Trebetskoy, Executive Director of Jade Mountain and Anne's Chastanet in St. Lucia. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very happy to be here in St. Lucia where the sun is shining. A little unhappy though that I'm not in Toronto because my first grandchild was born just a few days ago in Toronto. So my heart is in two places right now. So special greetings to Toronto.
Congratulations. That's great news.
Thank
we
you.
all appreciate happy news at this time, especially. So congrats, Grandma.
Thank
so
you.
let's start by confirming. Can we start by confirming whether both of your properties are currently open? And if so, what new safety measures can guests expect?
Certainly. So first of all, the island opened again for commercial flights on July 9, and our two resorts, Anne's Chastanet and Jade Mountain, we opened our doors on July 24. There was a lot of work behind the scenes before the opening, as you can imagine, a lot of training with our team members, a lot of discussions with our Ministry of Health that was, very diligent in preparing all these various accommodation protocols, health and safety protocols, and also even, looking at the whole airport arrival scenario. So a lot of preparation. At the property itself, we had to adjust the rooms and make it as touchless as possible. Our properties are known for, even though we have Wi-Fi, we'd like to keep it fairly unplugged, but we had to obviously introduce like electronic tablets to make it easy for guests to be in touch and keep the whole experience touchless, remove some of the books we had in the rooms. But as our two resorts have a 600-acre property with two beaches, the good news is that even the restaurants, everything is very spacious. So the way we adjusted it, it really hasn't changed the look and the feel of the property.
That's great to hear. It sounds like it was a huge undertaking for any resort right now. So it's great to hear that you're keeping all your guests safe. So I'm sure it's been a huge relief to you to be able to reopen safely. Can you tell us what capacity is like today and how winter bookings are shaping up?
Yeah, so we started with about 35%, and I'm pleased to report that October, November now are shaping up to be a little bit over 50%. I never thought I would say that the word 50% with such pride, but in this climate, it's actually quite an achievement. And we are hoping to see a further build-up over the winter season. But clearly, I think one of the big issues for us continues to be the unpredictability of COVID spikes in our originating markets. So we approach the winter season with, I would say, cautious optimism.
Okay. You mentioned 50%. That's huge. Congratulations. What a huge, huge milestone. So, we all know Jade Mountain to be super ultra luxe with rooms without walls, those famous views of the ocean. Do you think that in this new normal where everyone is wearing masks and strict safety protocols are in place, do you think all that takes away from the luxury experience?
It's really interesting that you ask, because Jade Mountain, by sheer nature of design, has always been a property where our guests almost naturally isolated. We always made the joke that our record has been the guests that checked in and physically never came out of the sanctuary, their open wall infinity pool sanctuary, for 5 days. So in a way, it's just really almost re-emphasized what Jade Mountain represents, and the fact that we always had a very personalized check-in. The butlers, the major domos, bring the guests straight to their sanctuary. The service focus was always the butlers, so it's not that it's really up to the guest how much interaction they want to have. So I would say it hasn't really changed a lot. Clearly, the staff, our team members, wear masks, so that's something guests just have to get used to. But isn't that something we had to get used to everywhere? So.
Are guests required to wear masks as well?
So as per the St. Lucia law, you are required to wear masks in public places. But again, when you look at a property like ours, where you have a big spread of 600 acres, I would say that guests can just be smart about it. And obviously, if you're near others, you would wear a mask. But if you are just by yourself, or if you walk through our beautiful estate of Ans Mamin, where you have the remains of an 18th century plantation, and you have over 12 miles of hiking and biking trails, you are by yourself. You wouldn't wear a mask, obviously. Nor if you're lying on the beach and there's nobody near you. So that's sort of a little bit of explaining it.
So basically, Jade Mountain is built to withstand a pandemic. You guys are basically handling it well, and design wise, you're doing well. That's great. Let's switch gears and talk about weddings, which is a big market for Jade Mountain. What new approach have you taken for weddings and celebrations moving forward?
So it's a whole new terminology out there. I had to get used to mini monies and micro weddings. But again, there is a sense of intimacy about the property. We only have 29 sanctuaries there. So naturally, we have tended to see smaller weddings. And it required very little adjustment. In terms of Ans Chastanet, the sister property, our protocols now would allow larger weddings. So we actually have a wedding coming up that is split between Ans Chastanet and Jade Mountain at the ending of the month. And that's going to see like 50 guests. And there, of course, we just have to make sure that our health and safety protocols that have been established for gatherings are upkept.
That sounds amazing. A relief to all wedding couples out there. I know you've gone over all the safety protocols, which is great, but I think what agents really want to know is, what's the vibe like on the island? Can you describe what the general feeling is like? I also hear that you recently flew in from overseas. Maybe you can tell us what the St. Lucia airport is like right now?
Yeah, so let me say my own personal experience, and for some reason I ended up I would say in Miami for a little longer than anticipated, together with my husband. And so when we flew back into St. Lucia, I would say, like any traveler, when you have stopped traveling for a while, there is a certain level of apprehension, because you wonder what that new normal feels like. The minute I set foot into the airport, and I was even reassured already in the States, and then flying to St. Lucia and arriving in St. Lucia, I was very impressed how seamless the experience was. And I actually wrote to our tourism authority in this regard and congratulated them, as well as our Ministry of Health. So you get out of the plane, there is a new air-conditioned area that has been created with seating even, and that's where you present your health certificates. I am not sure if your advisors online are aware that in St. Lucia, you have to present a PCR test that has been done within 7 days of arrival. So that is in this new area. You present the health form, you have hand sanitizer. I would say the level of courtesy, the guest service experience was really excellent. And our flight that I came on was actually full. So I was personally a little worried how this would be handled. And then I was very impressed. And also making it through, getting my luggage, going out and getting our driver. I found it was very well organized. So I certainly, if anybody from the St. Lucia Tourism Authority is listening, I want to say you're doing a great job, guys.
And beyond the airport, can you comment on what the feeling is like? Are restaurants open? Are there things to do? Are people happy?
Yeah, so it started, of course, with quite a few restrictions that guests mostly stayed on property, but it's now really reaching the phase where we have a number of attractions that are open. Our restaurants are looking at schedules that would also allow visitors to visit restaurants. So I'm very happy to see this happening, and I would say the vibe is sort of, again, like we are optimistic. We are really happy that we've only had 27 COVID cases in total on the island, and we haven't had any for quite some time now, and none of these cases came through visitors, by the way. And we had no deaths. So, I mean, I think that that alone, and there's a new confidence now in the protocols that have been, now proven themselves over the last 2-3 months. So I think it's a good vibe.
That's so reassuring to hear. Only 27, that's great. I know that you also serve as president of the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association. Have you seen in recent months that St. Lucia's hotels are collaborating more closely together, in terms of implementing safety protocols? Has the pandemic changed the way at all how the hotel industry operates?
I would say, when you go through something like this, and not just the hotels, I would say the travel advisors would share that. I mean, you find yourself down on the bottom, and you need to get out of that. And we were all down on the bottom together, and now we're coming up together. And I would say there is a newfound camaraderie between the hotels. We have created a number of new WhatsApp groups, and we have been very open with each other. We share not only the good, but we also share privately if we feel things didn't go well or it could have gone better. And so we're sharing best practices. And it's really a good family of hotels. And I feel it has brought us closer together in a way, even though we could have done without it, the COVID.
For sure. There's definitely a sense of camaraderie, not just across the hotel industry, but across all sectors of tourism. So it's great to hear. I think we have time for one final question. As someone who knows the inner workings of the hotel and hospitality industries, what do you think is the biggest challenge that islands are facing right now? And what do you think the forecast will be for the islands as we head into the new year?
So in a way, I mean, you see, creating that desire for guests to travel and creating that confidence for everyone to travel is very important to also get our airlift back. We also obviously work very hard to showcase to our travel advisors that St. Lucia is really fully prepared and a fantastic destination to visit at this time. We would like to see our airlift back. And I mean, we can't wait to see Air Canada come back to the island. We want to keep all of our employees employed because, I mean, clearly we may not be at the occupancy we want right now, but we want to build the occupancy and keep as many of our team members employed as possible. In terms of challenges, I think that perhaps it would be nice to see a more harmonious approach of the entry requirements. I know it must be a little confusing for travel advisors to see every island having a different twist, but I think we're getting there. And the Caribbean in general, I think, has done a marvelous job with managing COVID-19. And, I would just say to the Canadian travel advisors, come visit St. Lucia, come yourself. There are great offers. And we know you wouldn't be disappointed. nor would your clients be.
Absolutely. It's great to hear that there's a light at the end of this long, long tunnel. So good to hear. I guess the only thing we can do is stay positive and keep moving forward. So thank you, Carolyn, for being here, for all your insight. All the best to you in St. Lucia.
Thank you. And to whoever's in Toronto, you know that I'd rather be in Toronto right now to meet my grandchild. But anyway, it's going to happen soon. On that note,
I'm crossing my fingers for you. Thank you. Now let's check in with everybody. Thanks, Carolyn. Now let's check in with our colleague Gwen in Montreal.
Hi everyone. Now let's talk about very interesting number and data covering the traveler interest to the Caribbean this winter. My name is Gwendoline Duval. I'm the General Manager of Profession Voyage, the Travelweek's French publication in Quebec. For those who are not really familiar with us, Profession Voyage is one of the top leader publication in Quebec with more than 1.5 million page views every year and the ultimate leader on social media. So this has been said. Now, do you know where Canadians want to go first? What kind of experience are they looking for? And about the agents, are they really feel comfortable selling the Caribbean? I'm about to share with you right now exclusive data from our latest survey. So stay with me. I think some results might surprise you. If tomorrow the dreams come true and there are no travel restrictions anymore, the top destinations for Canadians would not be the Caribbean, but it's a second close. They would consider first travel to Canada, Mexico, Europe, United States, and the rest of the world. We were wondering also if all the protocols that have been set up by destinations and hotel chains has a good impact on the demand. And actually, I would say that the perception is quite good to the Canadian market because almost the half of Canadians who participate in the survey feel safe to travel to the Caribbean. After this long period of restrictions, what kind of experience are they looking for? You won't be surprised to see that beach destinations is coming first, but you will see also that city break and cruises are almost at the same level. Interesting. As you may know, a growing number of destinations are asking for pre-testing COVID-19 prior to the arrival. But is there an impact on the demand because of that? According to a survey, 71% of Canadians don't see it as a barrier to travel to a destination. And this point has also been confirmed on another survey did with the travel agents. Speaking about travel agents, we know that a lot of studies are saying that they will be more important than ever after the pandemic. And this point has been verified in our last survey because about 60% of consumers who answered this survey are more likely to seek out the services of a travel agent when booking their trips. As you can see, there is still demand to travel to the Caribbean and people are still dreaming about traveling. However, they need to be reassured about it. And that's the key role of a travel agent. But how agents are feeling about recommending traveling to the Caribbean this winter. We also did a very interesting survey to the agents. According to our last survey, about 25% of agents are not feeling comfortable recommending traveling to the Caribbean this winter. And it could represent, just if we are speaking about Quebec, it could represent up to 3,000 travel agents. And if we are looking about other numbers, we know that in 2019, the volume of sales generated in total in Quebec by travel agents was more than $17 billion. And of course, Caribbean as a top seller. So we can very easily see that there is a big potential loss for Caribbean destinations if agents are not selling them. But to conclude on a better note, more than 80% of agents are optimistic or cautiously optimistic for the future of travel. And you know what? At Travelweek and Profession Voyage, we are also optimistic for the future. For other stats and information, stay connected to Travelweek. More information will be available later in October. I hope you enjoyed this little stats break and enjoy your conference.
Hi, we are now ready for our much anticipated closing keynote speaker. I'm very pleased to welcome Adam Stewart, the Deputy Chairman of Sandals Resorts International. Hi, Adam, thanks for being here.
Devin, thanks so much for having me. It's a great pleasure, and we always have such a great time when we get on air, so let's have some fun today.
Okay, we know you are a very lucky man and you get to spend lots of time in the Caribbean while we're stuck up here in Canada. Can you give us an idea of what is going on the ground in tourism and what the general sentiment is like across the region?
Absolutely. So in the beginning, the Caribbean, much like anywhere in the world, there was a bit of fear. We were learning about the virus as we were going in the earlier days, going back to March and April. We then got to work right away and started working on our national protocols across the islands. And then, of course, Sandals published its 18-point platinum protocol. And today, we are, as we say in Sandals, we're back to happy. We are opening hotels one by one. And our visitors have been coming, and the Caribbean, I think, at large, has done an unbelievable job in some of the lowest infectious rates of anywhere on the planet. And I think it's a huge testimony to the work that's taken place between the public and the private sector, our health authorities, to keep everyone safe, to keep our workers safe, our citizens safe, and most importantly, keeping our customers safe.
Back to happy, I like that. What are some of the key challenges facing the region as we attempt to kickstart tourism amid a global pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is pretty obvious from the point of view that there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of mixed information. There are different views on just returning to normal at large. And but the truth is that all of us lost something in this pandemic. Travel is, in many instances, it's leisure, and in many instances, it's survivability. It's many of us travel because our life depends on it. So many of the viewers that will be watching this today, it's their livelihood. We travel for work, not always for a luxury, and we lost that in this pandemic. So what we've been having to dig deep in making sure that we have the world's leading health and safety protocols is our ultimate quest is to restore peace of mind to both our visitors and to our staff and team members in Sandals Resorts and, of course, across the Caribbean at large. And I think we've done a pretty amazing job of doing that. Our staff are so happy to be back at work, and our hotels have occupancies rising more and more, and our customers are having the time of their life once again. So as we say, we're back to happy.
Yeah, for those of us that work in the travel industry, we're used to just jumping on planes all the time. It's just been such a bizarre few months to be, stuck at home. So you are making some great headway opening your resorts. Can you give us an idea of what bookings are like and what the holiday season is shaping up?
Well, Devin, there is no question whatsoever that demand is out there. So our generation, and when I speak of our generation, there are really three generations, from the boomer generation down to the millennial generation and even below these days, grew up with travel as a feature of our life. So at no point in time have we never been in a situation where we couldn't just go to an airport, hop on a plane, whether it's for pleasure or for work. And over the last 6 months, that freedom, that ability to explore or to do the things that we need to do for our professional life was taken away from us. So by virtue of that, we're seeing right now that there probably more than ever before, we could say that we probably took it for granted. And as a result, we're seeing really, really strong demand for 2021. Our hotels in across the Caribbean are, most of them are above 50% occupancy today. I was at Sandals Royal Caribbean, Sandals Montego Bay just this week. Both of them were just below 70%. The visitors are having the time of their life, and those visitors that are coming, you're seeing it on social media. You're seeing it out there in the content that they're creating. That they are, that it is the Sandals resorts that they know. The vacation experience is slightly tweaked to keep everyone safe, but the product is pretty much exactly as it's been, if not better. And our whole mission here is to, just as I said before, to restore confidence in the consumer and make sure that everyone is ramping up and we're able to get them back to vacationing, which they're telling us very clearly they want. So demand is strong.
Wow, those occupancy rates are actually quite surprising on the upside. That's great. So we know Sandals has taken quite a bit of time, coming up with your social distancing policies and, your cleanliness protocols. How are they playing out on the resorts, and how are the clients reacting?
But the client, the clients, and there was never any fear from our standpoint as to the client wanting to participate. Everyone has such a heightened awareness of what's going on that they're playing their part, they're playing their role. So we know that the protocols that have been rolled out nationally across all of these islands, they're very similar at the end of the day to what Sandals is a first mover in publishing the Platinum Protocol. But many of the protocols are very similar today: mask wearing, social distancing, hand washing. But what we made sure to do is that we didn't lose the spirit of who we were, the soul of Sandals, the team members. So whereas in the past, many of our past guests would come and we'd welcome them with big warm hugs, we're replacing those with elbow bumps and that kind of a. But Sandals is a product that has always been very exclusive. We've always been very low density. And, in our own way, we've been social distancing from a long time because privacy has been who we are. So, the standard is tables in restaurants are not supposed to be more than 6 feet. That's internationally. But in Sandals, oftentimes you're finding tables 16 feet apart. We have large, expansive beaches. We're open-air resorts with the Caribbean trade winds blowing east to west. We have huge beaches. So the product and the experience, I mean, you see all this sensationalism for good reason in the media, but when you come back to Sandals and when you walk our resorts, it's literally exactly what it's always been. And that's why we've had several customers that have been back 2-3 times since we reopened.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I've been to several of the Sandals properties and never have I ever felt crowded there. There's always more than enough room for everyone. Sandals, as you keep mentioning, is a luxury product with a price tag to match. How do you stimulate demand post-pandemic without devaluing the product?
Well, I mean, the first thing is what you do in your operations. So we haven't cut any costs anywhere in our operations. All of our restaurants are open. All of our facilities are open, irrespective of, when we first opened, the occupancy, like many, was lower than it would have typically been. We've kept everything wide open and made sure all of our services were fully in place. But at the end of the day, we believe that we are what the consumer wants and has wanted for years, but what they want more so than ever before. So that whole notion of privacy being a premium, of people being conscious of, people that are in their space and who's around them, that's kind of been the Sandals mantra. What we sell in Sandals is love. Our tagline is love is all you need. And our resorts have been built this way strategically for the last 40 years. So a consumer that comes to a resort is getting all the quality that they've come to know over the years. All the facilities are open. You have a joyousness taking place in our team members because everyone is just so happy to be back at work. And you have a consumer that lost the ability to travel and lost their love for Sandals for a moment in time. So they're so excited to be back. And that's why we really launched this campaign, this whole Back to Happy concept, because it is this freedom, it is this release, it's this exploration of getting back to the things that made us happy. We knew they made us happy, but we probably didn't realize just how much they made us happy. And so we've been, we've just been focusing on the small things that are the big things. and making sure that our vacation experience is as we have always said it was and as it's always been.
Can I ask what's happening with the buffet at Sandals properties?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that we rolled out in our Platinum protocol was that, you know, buffet lines are open, but whereas historically worldwide consumers would serve themselves, we have servers there. The Sandals Platinum protocol kicks in from the airport. So from you arrive in the airport, your transportation, limited number of people, whether you're in the private BMWs in Jamaica, Rolls Royces in Barbados, or if you're in a bus, we've taken the numbers down from a bus that could hold 16 people. It'll be down to 6. And every element of the vacation experience, from bypass check-in, you go straight to your room. Everything is touchless now. There's no menus in the resorts anymore. Everything is digital on your phone. And of course, we probably most impressively were the first in this hemisphere to go with black lights for room cleaning and using a different level of sanitization for peace of mind. And then we seal the guest room at the end. So there's a number of changes, but none of them are impacting. They're just making the vacation experience more frictionless now than it's ever been before.
So you have 15 resorts, 8 are now open, 6 are opening in October and November, and then you have 1 opening in January. I believe that's Bahamas. What factors do you take into account deciding when, where, who to open?
You know, Devin, my dad and I always joke that the most expensive hotel to own is a closed hotel. So we made a conscious decision to be the first to reopen, starting in Antigua in the very beginning in early June. And in Jamaica, some 10 days later, where we started opening hotel by hotel. And we made a conscious decision that we know our consumers have trusted us for many years. We know we have this unbelievable relationship with our team members that are the soul and the sort of center of Sandals with our customer base. And we made a decision that we're going to open these hotels. We're feeling demand. We're seeing the consumers talk to us and tell us 2021 that there's going to be a strong recovery. And Sandals is the most trusted brand in travel in this hemisphere and has been for many, many years. You know, we'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary next year. And we don't believe for a moment that people are going to stop traveling. We never believed that from the very beginning. Travel is our release. It's our freedom. It's the thing that we most look forward to, whether it's with friends or loved ones. And we've been trusted for many years. So our executive, our chairman, myself, we made conscious decisions to say we're going to open these hotels one by one, even if for some reason we didn't see the demand where we would want to get to for break even, but we're definitely pacing in the right direction. But we're seeing awesome demand come Thanksgiving, you know, sort of U.S. Thanksgiving time of year into the holiday period and into Q1 2021. So we said, you know, open is open. We are going to open these hotels one by one and make sure that the lion's share of Sandals is the entire chain is back to business most of it will be reopened by the end of this month in October. And because it's tricky for consumers. It's tricky for consumers to remember every resort, all the different resort chains, you know, who's open, which one of the hotels in the chain is open. So we just said, open the chain. Let's get our team back to work, and let's be that trusted partner to our staff and to our consumers that we've always been. And let's get back to giving people the vacation of a lifetime. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Wow, that's really nice to hear, actually. One of the kind of difficulties sitting up here in Canada is wrapping our head around, you know, what's going on each island, who needs a COVID test, who's allowed to travel in. You know, is there frustrations on your side trying to get all the different government regulations straight?
Well, a lot of my own role has been, and I know Minister Bartlett, I believe, is on this panel as well. I'll tell you one thing that I'm super impressed with is the participation from all the hoteliers, competitors alike, and the governments, you know, what they would typically call public-private partnerships, on establishing the best protocols possible, on training on them, on getting them approved and implemented and executed across the hospitality industry at large. And then, of course, Sandals as the company that we are, the sort of leading hospitality enterprise with a big infrastructure, we've played a very pivotal role in that dialogue. And I don't think the Caribbean is any more challenged than anywhere else in the world. It's been a complex matter because you're marrying operationally what's doable with scientifically what the medical fraternity is telling us, and the WHO, the CDC, etc., the Pan American Health Organization. So I myself have led this initiative on behalf of our company, sitting at the head table with many of the governments in the Caribbean and having discourse and dialogue. And I think the governments of the Caribbean have done an outstanding job. It is a bit challenging. Sandals itself is talking directly to our consumers and to our travel agent partners. We are publishing it on our websites as they evolve and change. But I think generally there is a sentiment that we're moving again. There is changing coming in technology. There's a lot of evolution from PCR swab testing to rapid testing. And there's even been hints at Caribbean Islands just saying that they're going to be monitoring symptoms, much like the United States has done. So every country as a sovereign nation will do it their way. But I think regionally, the Caribbean has done an amazing job by the numbers. If you're looking at the infectious rates and you're looking at the death count, and the compliance around protocol is unbelievable. Here in my own Jamaica, anywhere you go, people are wearing their masks, they're social distancing, and it's really been fascinating to watch. And of course, because people are also concerned for their own health and safety, but we also now know, how to protect yourself and how to keep yourself safe, much more so than we did 6 months ago when this started. And I think all that's coming into play today, and consumers are saying, you know what, I'm going to be okay. The airlines are doing their part, the airports are doing their part, the hoteliers are doing their part, and of course for me in Sandals, I think we're doing it better than
Yes, I would agree with everything you just said. How has the pandemic affected any of the resorts you were planning on opening? And can you just remind us which ones are in the pipeline?
Sure. So we're going to be opening Sandals South Coast in 2 days' time. We have Grenada coming up for our opening. We have Sandals Royal Plantation coming up. We have Beaches, Turks and Caicos that's opening up on the 22nd. So there's a beautiful pipeline of hotels. As we mentioned, there will be 6 more opening this month in total. So we'll have 14 of our resorts open. And then behind that, one by one, we'll be reopening them. So the pandemic has only affected us from the point of view that, the obviousness of all of us having to close the hotels. But we've also taken the time to do quite a lot of work on our resorts. We've built 20 new rendezvous at Sandals South Coast with the longest pool in this hemisphere, connecting the rendezvous. The first time we've ever done an innovation like that. We have opened new room blocks at Sandals Royal Caribbean. We've done renovations at Beaches, Turks and Caicos. So we made a conscious decision because of the ownership structure and the way our company works. A part of our winning formula has always been that we just continue to reinvest in our business, and whether that's by training and support for our travel agent partners, the physical product, our own training on resort. We've had learning management systems running through our company so that our team members come back with more accreditations than when the pandemic began. So our training has been ongoing. And then, of course, we've been doing lots of stuff digitally for our travel agent partners who have always been the backbone and the biggest support for our brand, to make sure we're doing virtual FAMs and even things as funny as Maureen and the team up in Canada playing reggae music in parking lots just to make people's days a bit brighter. So we have certainly not been taking this as time off. And our company, every one of our hotels are going to open stronger. The landscaping has never looked better. When you get the opportunity to trim things back and to really get back in there and manicure them, our resorts are, each and every one of them are going to open better than when they closed.
So you haven't taken your foot off the gas at all in regards to renovations or any brand new properties?
Not at all, not at all. And then we have already announced We've already announced St. Vincent. So, we've been the sort of leading company throughout the Caribbean for the Eastern Caribbean, and a focus on the Eastern Caribbean. So we announced that we'll be moving into a new island, the island of St. Vincent, which is a part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines chain. It's an island chain that my dad and I and our family and our team have been in love with for many, many years. We've been talking to them for many years. And we had this deal done just about at the beginning of the pandemic. And we decided to go forth with it. And we're going to build an unbelievable beaches resort that will probably start around 300 rooms in the first phase. And then a second phase, we'll take it probably closer to 400 rooms. It's on 40 acres of land. It's westward facing. It's in a place called Buckermint. It's absolutely beautiful. And we're going to do our usual transformation. And then Devin, what I will say to you is stay close to the news media over the next few weeks, because we're going to make several announcements of acquisitions that Sandals and Beaches Resorts has done of new properties, including in new islands, in addition and further to what we've already announced.
Oh, wow, that is very interesting. I will definitely be keeping my ear open. Okay, I'm going to give you a final moment to just inspire travel agents. What are some words of wisdom to, really get them motivated and excited about the future?
What I find just heart to heart, Devin, is, and to the travel agent community that's watching this, is that there are people that are beginning to lose hope. This has mentally tested us probably more so than anything we've ever been through in our lives. And now is not the time to lose hope, because when I walk outside of this office right here in Montego Bay, Jamaica, the sky has never been bluer, the water has never been bluer, the rhythm of the Caribbean people has only gotten stronger. We've all realized just how much travel means to us, more so than we ever did before, even though it was our lifeblood. We've all realized that we should never take it for granted again. And as a result, as I mentioned prior, our entire team, don't for a second believe that travel is going to change into a new dimension. There will be tweaks, but we're going to go right back to doing what we loved, what we did better than anyone else out there. And I want to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for always standing side by side with Maureen and the team up in Canada, and our company at large, Gary Sadler and Sandals Resorts International, and to let you know that we will continue to be there for you step by step as we all rebuild. But 2021 is going to be a much better year. It's going to be a much better year than we even anticipated 2 or 3 months ago, with the evolution of technology, where things are going. But the spirit of the people of the Caribbean and the beauty of the Caribbean is irreplaceable. And we're not gonna go on holiday via Zoom. People are gonna be going back to the things that they love. I just want to say a huge thank you from our team. Thank you for your continued support, and to let you know that we'll always be there for you. And Sandals is strong, and we look forward to welcoming you back on our resorts and your customers as soon as they're ready. We're ready for them.
Thank you, Adam. That was absolutely perfect. Very motivational. A great way to end this conference. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's my absolute pleasure, Devin. Thank you to each and every one of you. You guys stay strong, stay safe, and we'll see you back here in the Caribbean soon.
Thanks very much, Adam. We are now going to hear a quick hello from some of our other island friends, and then we're ready to wrap up with the grand prize.
Hola, hi Canada, I'm Nieves Ricardo, Marketing Assistant. I'm Karen Puebla, Executive Assistant.
And Lester Gomez, the Director. We are the Cuban Tourist Board. The cayos of Cuba are open to Canadians. The big news is that the rest of the country will open in November 1st.
Canadians no need for pre-COVID tests, no online pre-authorization form before travel, no quarantine upon arrival.
We should live our lives to the fullest. This is the new normal. Following the rules can minimize the risk, and safe destinations like Cuba offer a good alternative for those longing to travel.
See you in Cuba.
Hi, travel agents. My name is Cosette Garcia. I am the director of the Dominican Republic Tourism Promotion Office in Montreal. Just a quick message to let you know that DR is open and that we do not request a COVID test at this time. So we are looking forward to see you guys soon. Hasta pronto.
Greetings, Canadian agents, from pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. Or should I say, from COVID-free Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. Yes, you heard that right. Grenada has been COVID-free for the past few weeks, actually for the past few months. And we encourage you all to please go to our COVID-19 website where you get all the information on protocols when going into the destination or whenever booking the destination that is pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. Currently, Grenada is open for Canadian visitors, and Air Canada's first direct flight into the destination is going to be on October 5th. First direct flight, October 5th. Currently, the protocols are being updated, so I would advise everyone to please visit the Government of Grenada website, which is covid19.gov.gd/updates. Again, that website is covid19.gov.gd/updates, and you will get all the updated quarantine and protocols, procedures that you would need when you arrive in Grenada or before you actually get on Air Canada from Toronto into the destination.
Hi guys, my name is Dominic Fede, the Minister of Tourism for St. Lucia, the most beautiful island in the Caribbean. Now, pre-COVID-19, we hosted some 40,000 Canadian visitors to our shores. Beaches like these and scenic locations, because of COVID-19, are now touristless. Now, your love for travel and our penchant for hosting makes us great partners. Now, as we are keeping our island safe, we hope that you are safe.
Canadian travel agents, I'm Juan Ruiz and I'm the BDM for Viva Windham here in Canada. Viva Windham has already reopened our resorts in the Viva Windham Maya in Mexico and the Viva Windham Dominicos Beach in La Romana, Dominican Republic. The rest of our resorts will be reopening on November 1st, and that includes Bahama, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. Viva Windham has implemented safety protocols during COVID-19. It's called Safe with Viva. And that is an international protocol for the safety of our mutual clients during their stay in our resort. All Canadians are welcome. Thank you. Have a great day.
So nice to see everyone. I can't wait to see everyone in person sometime very soon. Now our grand prize. The $500 Visa gift card goes to Valerie Murphy of Vision Travel. Yay, Valerie. Congratulations. That's a great prize. Please make yourself known in the chat box to collect. Well, everybody, that brings us to the end of our programming. We sincerely thank all the keynote speakers for giving their time and their opinions. I want to thank all the agents who came to the event and participated today. You know, Travelweek put a lot of effort in putting this together, and we sincerely hope it was informative and inspirational. You know, we're going through a little bit of tough times, but I hope one of the takeaway messages is that travel is not dead. You know, these islands aren't going anywhere, and people have the desire to travel, and that will come back in full force. Hopefully sooner rather than later. So thank you so much for being with us here today. As I mentioned, we're going to be emailing you a guide to complement this event tomorrow, so please watch out for that. Okay, everybody, stay safe.